You could call him a living legend. In 1934, star quarterback little Johnny Stidger led Amarillo High to their first ever state championship. 70 years later, time has not faded the memory in his mind.
I remember that team very, very vividly. I don't guess I'll ever forget it. But there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then. But I still remember 1934.
That year, on December 28th, the Amarillo High Sandies shut down Corpus Christi to become state champs at the then newly built Cotton Bowl in Dallas.
We had one of those days where it didn't make any difference what we did, it was right. And we went on to defeat them 48-0.
Not only did the Sandies squad make history for Amarillo High, the title was a first for the whole Texas Panhandle.
We took our own drinking water down to Dallas with us so we could make us feel at home.
And though he made headlines by leading his team to victory, this hands-on superstar says he could not have done it alone.
I had two real good running backs, and that helped me. That helped me. I could fake that ball to one of them and keep it, and the majority of the time they'd go with them, and I was able to gain a few yards.
While these hands have aged with time, there's not even one wrinkled page in this 70-year-old scouting report, something little Johnny has kept in mint condition, just like the memories of that fateful day.
Keep in mind, McFadden, number 35, likes to quick kick. Be alert for this. If they have the ball past the 50-yard line, don't worry about a quick kick.
Nowadays, Stidger says it's hard to believe he's the last living player from Amarillo's first and oldest championship squad.
Real humble, real humble. We didn't have any individuals. I mean, I remember we were just real close.
This is the 70th anniversary. Your reaction, tell me your reaction just to that.
Oh, well, I think it's wonderful. I think the alternative is nothing but pluses. And I've thought about it a whole lot, and I remembered that team very, very vividly. I don't guess I'll ever forget it. But there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then. But I still remember 1934.
And just tell me about it.
Well, when I was in junior high school, or maybe elementary school, I used to go out to the ballpark in order to get in. You know, back in the 30s, times was pretty tough, but I'd get me a job selling candy. I never will forget. I'd get me a box of those Butterfingers, and I'd get up in the stands and sell a few Butterfingers and watch that ball game. I had a way to get in and maybe pick up $1 or $2 out there selling the. And my brother, my older brother, played football, but he didn't finish school. He quit when he got in high school. And I know after they'd play a game, he'd bring his uniform home, and my mother would have to wash it before he could take it back to school. And when he brought it home, I'd put that sucker on. Man, I'd get out in that yard and play by myself, you know, and tackle and fall down and carry that ball, and I really enjoyed that. But I had on one of those Amarillo Sandies football uniforms, and I enjoy that, and I remember that. And of course, there's not, I don't guess, any games that I don't remember. We played all our games in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We didn't play any night games. We played on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and everybody in town closed down and went to the ball game. We averaged, I imagine we averaged around 10, 12,000 at our ballpark. They'd fill that thing up. And that's all, I guess that's all there was for them to do in the fall. But they turned out, and they liked their football out there, and they still do. And it was a great football town.
State championship game, it turns into a rout against Corpus Christi. First of all, where was that game played? Tell me where was that game?
The game was played at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas.
You played that game at the Cotton? That was a pretty new stadium then.
Yeah, it was. I think the seating capacity then was 45,000. and we had 22,000. It didn't look like there's too many people up there in a stadium that held 45,000, but there was 22,000 at the ball game. And of course, we rode the train down on to Dallas and spent the night, and boy, that was high cotton dust. And we enjoyed it. And of course, old Corpus had a real good football team. They had a back named Charlie Hass, and he's one of the outstanding football players in the state of Texas. And I never, old Coach Blair Cherry, which was my coach, and I very highly respect and loved. He was kind of upset about Hass, and he's going to give us a hard day. And we started out the ball game, and they received, in the first 3 carries, Hass made 33 yards. And I don't think he made but 10 or 15 the rest of the ball game. But we kind of shut him down. But we had one of those days where it didn't make any difference what we did. It was right. And we went on to defeat them 48-0. And, of course, we were happy, and Amarillo was happy, and everybody was happy.
You started a championship streak there in the Panhandle. That was the first Panhandle championship team, and then Amarillo High School goes on to win 3 straight. Then you come here to East Texas. You coach at, was it John Tyler High School when you first took it?
No, it was Tyler High School.
Tyler High School, and then it switches over when they build Lee to John.
Right.
And you coach out here in East Texas, and then you retire. Of all the big memories you've had coaching and playing high school football, I guess the state championship game has to be your biggest.
Has to be the tops. Has to be. I mean, that was just something that stays with you. And not everybody can play on one. It's just great. It's just great. I'll always remember it. Always have a lot of memories from it.
Does it seem like 70 years?
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't, but it is. When you do the figures on it, well, it's been 70 years. We played on December the 28th. We played, I think it was 13 ball games, and we played 10 in district ball game, and then I think there was 3 games to the finals, and I think there was 13. We were 13-0 that year. And of course, Blair Cherry he spent about 7 or 8 years in Amarillo. He came there in 29, and in 1930, they played Tyler High School for the state championship, and Tyler beat them 25-13. And 31 and 32, he had real good years, but didn't get in the playoff. And in 33, he was 10-0, and his quarterback was declared ineligible on account of he was too old, and they were 10-0. And then, of course, in 34, we were 13-0 and won a state championship. In 34, 35, they won a state championship. In 36, they won the state championship. I know everybody, all the coaches remember the records and all that, but I think Blair Cherry was out there 7 years, and he was something like 95-4, a tremendous record. And of course, after he won his 3rd high school championship, he went on down to the University of Texas, and later became the head coach down there. And by the way, I played against him 2 years down there. I went to SMU, and he went to Texas, and we got to play 2 years before I got out of school, after he became coach down there.
Now, there were some big stars on that SMU team, wasn't there? When you played at SMU, were there some big names?
When I went to SMU as a freshman, SMU went to the Rose Bowl. That's the year they had Bobby Wilson and Harry Shuford, which is a Tyler boy. And I could name them all if I just had a minute, but they did have some. I remember Bobby Wilson because he was an outstanding runner. In fact, he kind of carried them, and they played TCU that year, 20-14, and there was a boy named Bob Finley that threw about a 30-40-yard pass to Bobby Wilson in the end zone. They beat TCU 14-13.
Man.
They went to the Rose Bowl, and TCU went to the Sugar Bowl. Those were good days.
Tell me about the team that won the state championship. You were the quarterback. Was offense the strength? Was defense the strength? Was it all the same?
I tell you, we moved the ball real well offensively. We had 2 real good halfbacks. We ran what they called the double wing back. We had two running backs that were out on the wings, and I was the tailback. I got the ball from the center every time and handed off to one of them. And of course, we had a little blocking back who was only a sophomore, but he was a tough cookie, and he could block. And I had two real good running backs, and that helped me. That helped me. I could fake that ball to one of them and keep it. And the majority of the time, they'd go with them, and I was able to gain a few yards.
Last question. You were saying before we started the interview that you might be the last living member of that team. Tell me about how that makes you feel.
Well, real humble, real humble. We didn't have any individuals. I mean, I remember we were just real close, and we were all reared in Amarillo. We all came up in Amarillo. We didn't have a whole lot of move-ins, which I understand that everybody thought we moved a lot of people in, but all those kids was raised right there. We went through junior highs together, and there was different parts of town that we came from. I mean, they had 3 junior highs, and one on the north, one on the east, and one on the south. But when we got to high school, we all kind of melded into one, and we really played as a team. We didn't have a lot of individual stars.
Fantastic. My goodness, you are a great
Of course, there's a lot of superstitious, and we didn't know anything about Dallas. We'd never been too far out of Amarillo, and our coach, Brad Cherry, got him a lot of drums and just filled them up with water, and we took our own drinking water down to Dallas with us so we could make us feel at home. I think we had 33 kids on our squad. Now then they have 53 and 63, and that's come down a whole lot. And the rest of it is just things that my mother kept that I didn't know she was keeping. And I'm just tickled to death that she did, because you can certainly reminisce a whole lot. You was asking me the question the other day about statistics on the Amarillo and the Corpus Christi ball game.
Right.
And I got them right here, and I don't have my glasses, and I can't read them too good, but all the statistics are right there, and I think we, I really can't see that with, put these glasses on and see if I just see maybe the first downs or something. First downs, Amarillo made 27, and Corpus Christi made 12. And that's about the way the ball game went.
Goodness gracious.
I know one of our real good running backs, John Harlow, had scored 4 touchdowns, and our other halfback, Glenn Buskin, had scored 2 touchdowns. And to have here, we played Masonic home in the semifinals.
Oh my goodness.
The semifinals, we played at his house.
Go ahead and show it to me.
This is our scouting report that our coach made up. We didn't have anything other than this, and he'd give this to the quarterbacks for us to study, and we'd do this and remember all we could. I know here it says tackles follow reverses fast, especially on the short side of the field. Suggestive plays, and he'd tell us the plays to run, and he'd go on and spots that cannot be to complete passes. They just
that's amazing. Look at what great shape that book is in.
Yeah, well, I've had it ever since 1934. Had it tucked away. Keep in mind, McFadden, number 35, likes to quick kick. Be alert for this. If they have the ball past the 50-yard line, don't worry about a quick kick. You know, things you take for it. And here, he'd just draw up our defenses. I mean, he'd put their offense over here, and then they'd draw up our defenses. We ran a 6-2-2-1, and ran it all the time. I'm sure our interior linemen probably made a few adjustments according to the offensive set that the opponent was in, but he'd draw these up. There's number 3 and there's number 4, and we'd make a little adjustment with the linebackers inside and outside. And that was our scouting.
position did you play at SMU?
Played tailback there. We ran a
Tailback.
single wing there. Coached at Roberts Junior High School from 52 through 57, and John Tyler High School from 58 through 69.
And your best year, 58 to 69 at John Tyler?
Yeah, 59 we won the district championship, and 64 was probably our best football team. We were 5-0, and you remember the Flynn kid that was out of our league 2 years ago that went to LSU, the quarterback.
Right.
And
So Flynn's dad was your quarterback at John Tyler?
in 64.
That's amazing.
And we were 5-0, and we had an off season before we started district play. And you know, his coaches, they get real smart. Alvin was a big old kid, about 190, but a real good passer. And we'd let him pitch on our sweeps and just bootleg on the other side and get us. And we won the next one. We was 9-1, but we didn't get the playoffs.
See, that's there are a lot of great teams that never got playoffs because there was only one team, and if you lost that one game, you were out.
That's right. We tied for it 3 more years, and we two-headed coins. He could win those clips. If he got tied, he's gonna get the playoffs.
What was y'all's closest game? Your unbeaten season in 1934. What was the closest game you had?
Probably Masonic Home, 3-0.
Wow.
They had 13 players. They had 11 playing and 2 on the bench.
What was the worst weather that year?
Well, I'll tell you what, it gets kind of cold back there. It surely was.
Well, Mr. Stidger, I believe I'm just about done here. If you know anybody in Amarillo, call them and tell them the NBC station in Amarillo, third